Well, me and Jaden have finally got this thing finally coming to a close. It's not a big, super awesome system, but to us it's pretty neat. This thing was built entirely of plug-and-plays. I have two plug-and-plays right now in it. It's an 80-in-1 Sega, 12-in-1 Pac-Man. And they're all, well, that jack's 12-in-1, which is okay, I mean, for what it's doing. I've also got a pinball on the way. It's a plug and play. The pinball will isolate these buttons here, right on the side of the cabinet. It'll have the same buttons as far as one player start. But when I first started this whole deal, it was cheap to try to get it done because I paid 25 bucks for the cabinet. It was an Operation Wolf cabinet. Of course, you know, I have this thing out here. I gutted all that and just made the base cabinet was pretty basic. So just give you a rundown. I retained the old school switch up here. I thought it was kind of neat. Can't see it, but you power it on. It's got a PC system in it. It's actually a 5.1, but I'm utilizing a 2.1. It's got car speakers that I had laying around. I cut in up here, right there. It's got tweeters that I threw in there because my thinking was, why just have it sit in the cabinet? I'm just going to use it. So I'm already going through more steps than what I want to, but it was necessary in the fact that, well, one, it's a TV. PC monitor, typically you can power it on and it'll come on. But this one has 3 inputs. It has a component and 2 composite inputs. So I'm utilizing 2 composite inputs right now. I've got an adapter coming for any other system that I add. What I want to add in is I want to add in the Nintendo 500-in-1 plug and play type deal. They're like $20-some on eBay. The mall wants like 80, so it's kind of a no-brainer. The pinball was like 12 bucks, I think, shipped, so I'll dissect it. So basically, you just, and then the marquee. I got a marquee. It was a multicade. This thing here, but I completely hate it. It doesn't match anything that I want to do, you know, on this cabinet. It just, every time I put it in, I hate it. So I'm going to do something there on the marquee, but it'll be nice because it'll just slip up. I have the volume control in here hidden, so when you slide it up, I can turn it up or down based on what system you're playing. So what starts out, you got your main power, turn that on, then you have your remote. The remote will be stuffed down in this cubby hole, and as you can see, I'm psyched. I'm already up. I'm ready to play. There's no boot time on a plug and play, that's kind of a plus to me. So I have switches over here. I have just these little button switches right here. I retained the old artwork on this side because in the area that this will be in the basement, you're only going to see the one side anyway. And I thought it would be kind of neat to actually retain some nostalgic fact of the original Tato or however you pronounce it cabinet. You know, I'm not going to get into all the electronics inside, but as you can see, it has a fair amount of wiring. I've got it set up to where it's got a PC control back in there, or a power supply, because it has a 3, 5, and 12 volt. Of course, your pinball buttons, and then I've got this set up to where what's going to happen is this is Pac-Man, this is Sega, and this will be pinball, and I'll add another one in, and that'll be the Nintendo. But one thing I wanted to cover was very frustrating because when I would, you know, common sense tells me when you power, if it's not powered up, over here, not me. If it's not powered up, if you put any kind of ground wire or anything, that Pac-Man on the Sega, even though that thing is not powered up, that thing will not power up no matter what I did. So I had to completely isolate it from each system. So what I come up with was just this DB9 9-pin, or DB9, you know, your serial port. It's just, I've wired it in to where when I switch system, these are to come. I don't know what happened there. Apparently there's a short somewhere. But if I switch to the game, what's going to happen is I pull this out, put it on Pac-Man, and then these two A and B buttons, I'll just put a 4-pin male-female plug there, and then that'll plug in. So it's going to be more. It's already more steps than what I wanted. I want it user-friendly. So just to kind of give you a rundown, this one's really cool. Where's it at? Vector Man. This was pretty neat. I got this set up, and down here is to come. These are going to have two 25. It's just a red button, and then I cut a vinyl decal that says 25 cents because I cut vinyl too, as you can see. So that's going to be your menu button. Okay. As you can see, I pulled that system up. Now I'm into that game. I just hit start and I got my options. Boom. T-molding is on the way. I'm still contemplating on the marquee if I'm going to do that or not. Once this is all finalized, everything is going to be, I'm going to do one more coat of black. Do a skid plate down on that because I think that's kind of neat. And then throw my red T-molding on, and I think she's ready to rock. And then we're going to put it in the basement, and we're going to have a bitchin' time. So, yeah. Now I've just got these all soldered in, so I'm trying to figure out what's what. Apparently those don't do anything. That's jump, fire, fire. Turn it down just a smidge. I like loud audio on some of these games because I think it's really cool. He's like, hey, what are we doing? Once you get used to, I could actually put the buttons where I want them, but I just wanted as is, you know, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. As is, I figured I'd get used to it accordingly. At this point, it looks like this game, these two are the same, so this is jump. B and C is going to be your main ones. Got jump and then C. Been a long time since I played this game. I really like the audio and the intro. Whoops. Son of a bitch. I tell you what, there's a lot to be said about a cabinet. Oh, jeez. About a cabinet that has buttons that, and then these are wired for 8-way. See how I got that angle? I could never do that in a 4-way. So there's some games that will require a 4-way, like the Pac-Man is a little bit more difficult to play on the 8-way, but I'm just going to keep it as is. Oh, that don't look like fun to get through. Whoa. And then I also got, I don't know if this won't do it. No, this is a 2-player game, or a 1-player game only. So, with the exception of, I would normally have the button down here, and that would be my menu, but I'm going to go ahead and power it off and bring it back up. and then I will show you Mortal Kombat. It's harder than what I remember. We'll do ahead this one. If I bring in the other player, it's pretty cool. But to play Mortal Kombat on this computer, holy crap, even on novice, it's super freaking hard. Yeah. The graphics aren't that great. The video resolution really ain't that great. But honestly, I really didn't care. I was just looking for something fun to kind of grab the memories and grab the time that, you know, back in the arcade, how we felt. Now, this is not as cool as some of these ones you see on YouTube. There's some really awesome systems on YouTube that utilize like hyperspin and all that kind of thing. A Raspberry Pi. There's so many different options that you can do as far as to capture what you want. I wanted it simple, nothing really hardware-wise to kind of go out. This other cabinet right here, the Nintendo Super System. It's wired for JAMA currently, but I do believe, rather than, I don't know, I think I'm going to go to, I've got a really nice 2 terabyte PC that's running Hyperspin with rocket launcher for the front end. We got a 23-inch monitor, but I've seen some YouTube videos that, you know, utilize your vertical and horizontal feed correctly, like your Galaga, Pac-Man, and that sort of thing. And they're actually, some of them are manual and they flip their screen. That is what I really want to do on that system. I'm going to retain the coin op and the dollar bill op. Not that it would serve any purpose, but I think it would be neat on this cabinet. This cabinet is a little bit harder to work on, just for the configuration. But I think after it's done, I'm torn between going JAMA or PC. It may have both, I don't know. So back to the Mortal Kombat. I'm gonna turn it up. This thing is super freaking hard. So you got punch, punch, block, kick, low kick, and then you got... Holy shit, dude, seriously? Holy crap. So, just to kind of give you an idea, so like I said, in game, I can bring in player 2, whatever he wants, decide. Oh, there's me. See, that I've got, like Jaden's just helping out, just kind of demoing it. But the thing, you know, I got block, and then punch, 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 punch. Kick, kick. So it'll be a matter of getting used to it, but it's pretty cool because I've got everything wired in, and she's good to go. So now it's just going to be a matter of you know, tidying up this rat's nest, and then it'll be, you won't even hardly see that, and then you know, when I'm switching from plug and plays, it's just going to be a matter of turning whatever system on that you want and then putting that on there. But I don't know if I'll run into that with the other plug and plays, but that remains to be seen as I receive those and start to wire those in as well. But as you can see down in here, there's not a whole lot of light, but the plug and play has been mounted on a piece of aluminum bracket, and then after everything's soldered, I basically just hot glue everything so it's kind of like an epoxy coat, and then nothing moves, no wiring moves, and then no vibration will basically, you know, impact what's going on. So that's where we're at on this build, and I seriously am ready to be done with it. So I can move on to that one get in the house too and work on these awesome hot rods. So, that being said, on this Saturday night, thanks for videoing my man, and this is going to be bitching. Thanks.